Mr. Ruminski is here. He has been working with the Alliance Board as well as individuals in our community. The flow chart of the options that current residents or current property owners have in terms of rebuilding. So, Mr. Ruminski, if you would mention what your staff has been doing to this date in terms of the investigations and the approvals.
We're looking at existing septic systems, and we have a goal that if the sewer goes forward, when the
sewer goes forward, go ahead.
Once the financial part is secure,
yes.
Once the residents and homeowners vote to form the district,
yes.
Then it makes sense to put as little money as possible to use a temporary system. So we're trying to get it so your existing system can be corrected, refurbished, repaired to whatever it needs with little investment as possible on the owners. Use that until the sewer system is available. If the lot needs a new tank or needs something like that, integrate that design so that it can then be part of the step system, the new sewer system when it is built. So we're ready to approve a bunch, but in the outside chance that the sewer system fails, we need a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be each individual lot would then be obligated to a quite expensive supplemental treatment, engineered design. Most of the time there's some type of mechanical equipment with aerobic treatment. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Question. I just got my septic tank dug up and it's loaded with roots. Yes, thank you. And all the trees that gave the roots are cut down. That's fine, it's a little late, right? So, who do I go to put up a temporary sewer or a sewer that would fulfill the requirements of a potential septic? Excuse me. Who do I go to put a temporary holding tank or septic if the sewer, that will be approved by the sewer system? Who do I do? Because I want to put an RV on my land so I can live on my land until I build.
Okay, has someone looked at it at your root clog problem and said
that's the next step.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone from our office or one of the contractors, if sometimes that can be cleaned out
The roots?
and patched.
At the top.
What kind of tank is it?
It's an old concrete tank. Oh yeah, it's concrete. The
Yeah.
top looks great, but the bottom must be full of roots.
Sometimes it can be cleaned, sometimes it can't. Sometimes it can be put.
Okay, let's look at the worst scenario. If you can't clean your septic,
Yeah.
okay, then what?
Then it needs to be abandoned. It can be destroyed and filled in place, or it can be removed, and that's kind of your option, depending on how big your lot is, what kind of space you have.
Right.
If it's abandoned in place, then that little plot where it is kind of not available for other development. You can't build your house there. You can't put your new tank there. So the choice is pull it out or crush it up and bury it in place. Then install a new one and strategize the location of the new one so that it's probably close to the road. You want a downhill flow of gradient from your house to the tank so that your new one can then be connected with the pump to the sewer main out in the street.
And who would know what kind of new one to put in? County or?
You can talk to any of us who are already in that position.
Okay, I'd love you. Okay.
There's some preliminary designs on that sewer system, but basically maximize the size if you can, precast concrete or the really strong, heavy polyethylene or fiberglass tanks.
And I'm going to suggest that those people who have gone through this process, if you would put your name and phone number on the Yahoo group so that people who are going through it know, or the contractor that you've worked with, then you'll know who has already worked in Anderson Springs on these, 4 people doing, yes,
I
yes.
mean, also, if it gets to the point we have enough people in the Springs who say are going to hire a septic contractor to come in and do the various things, because nobody's lot is the same, it's going to be economically better for us, because that contractor will have all their equipment in the Springs. They won't be coming in for one person and then another person. So the more that we can organize ourselves to make that happen, I think financially the better the deal is. Donna?
This morning, we met with Dan Fossa from, who does septic systems, and he actually said that if we get a bunch of us who are ready to move forward and build, it's easier for him to get the permits to do what he needs to do. If he walks in and says, I've got 12 people who are ready to build, and we need this approved, versus if he goes in one at a time. So it's to our advantage to go in as a group to get our permits as well.
And that is the reason the Alliance also put together this survey, so that we can group people together to do exactly that. Thank you. Question, Cleo?
Yeah, to have our existing septic checked, do we contact the county to do that? And-
Yes.
And do they charge for that?
We can do that, and we charge a repair permit fee of $120, and that also includes the inspections when you make the connection to either your temporary or to the rebuild.
Ray, I just have one question. If you wanted to do a larger holding tank. we're not
Excuse me,
sure-
I'm going to ask everyone to introduce yourself when you're speaking.
All right, I'm Kirby Beach. Ray, you took a look at our place, and so we're gonna put in the holding tank. We're not sure what size. Is there a frequency of we have to empty those out, or if we have a holding tank and they don't put a sewer system in, can that be converted to a septic tank?
Probably can, and for a temporary holding tank, that would work if you're an infrequent visitor. If you're full-time resident, probably not, and the reason is you're committed to hiring the pumper truck to come out and pump it out whenever it's nearly full. And that same strategy would lead you to go to a larger holding tank as possible. So the stock sizes on tanks are 1,000 gallon, 1,250 or 1,200 gallon, and 1,500 gallon. So
And we have enough land, we can put a septic tank in the leaching.
yeah.
Is there a tank right there?
There was a tank there, but it's gonna be crushed.
Okay. Another question here, and then Mary will ask one.
I'm Guillermo Maturana. I have a question about composting toilets. What's the policy on composting?
Composting toilets he's asking about.
The each house, for a legal resident, you need at least one fixture that's a conventional toilet in your house. The if you want a composting toilet, you can add that, but you can't delete your sewer connection or your wastewater system, for a composting toilet.
Great. Muriel?
If the county requires you to upgrade in some way, don't forget to go to your insurance company. They pay for upgrades.
Only if you have that.
If it's in your
Perhaps.
policy.
Some policy,
Does the county have any guidelines for use of gray water?
Yes.
Can we send our gray water not through our
Recycling.
system?
You can, and it's based on state plumbing codes, and the permit for it isn't in our office; it's in someone else's office. But it isn't. It isn't specific county rules. It's in the state code. It's in that state of building
And in
plumbing.
reviewing the state code, what you have to be able to do, as I understand, is turn it so that the effluent will go into your standard system should there be so much rain that it cannot be absorbed. That was what I was reading.
Yeah, most of the time it's not a great option on a small compact lot Because in addition to a gray water system, you have to have a traditional wastewater system, either the utility connection or an on-site.
Oh, thank you very kindly, Mr. Ruminski. And now, have you all decided who's going first? Who's on first?
Safety in numbers.
Yes. Scott DeLeon.
Good afternoon. I'm learning things every day. So I had no idea that permit was in my department. So
It wasn't until today.
yeah, that's true. Since I didn't know, maybe Ray just put it in my department. It's not fair to take advantage of the guy that's been on the job for a month. I'm happy to be here. I really appreciate. I'm sitting here listening to this meeting, and I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I have been dreading coming here for about 3 days, because the things that we're dealing with and the things that are happening in this department are frankly very frustrating. I know that most of you sitting here are probably frustrated to some degree, either very frustrated or soon to be very frustrated. And so when you're asked to come and stand in front of a group of folks that you know are not going to be real happy with you, it's a little unnerving. So my strategy today is to be honest and be forthright and tell you what we're doing, tell you what our challenges are, and in the end I'm going to ask you for your help. Audrey's put some things up on the board here that are issues that we're dealing with. And let me back up just a little bit. I'm a civil engineer. I'm not a planner. I'm a roads and bridges guy, but I have a pretty good understanding and a pretty good history of community development from being on the other side of the counter. I owned a private practice in Lakeport for 12 years, and I represented folks just like you who were trying to get projects and get developments through community development. And so I'm very familiar with the CEQA process, I'm very familiar with building codes, and I'm very familiar with interaction with community development from the other side of the counter, from your side of the counter. So though I may not know exactly all the permits and things that are responsible, that I'm responsible for in my department, I do know how I want the department to run. And I'll be honest with you, the first week I was there was complete triage, okay? Everyone in that department was shocked. They didn't understand. They were frustrated. They were angry. The first week was awful. The second week, we spent getting to know each other, talking to each of the staff members, each of the division heads. Audrey's the division head in charge of planning, and going through what are your issues, what are the things that you're working on. Tell me what's going on with you. Third week, we started saying, okay, what are some of the big topics? What are some of the things that we're able to identify that we need to fix? And then last week was week number 4, and we're really starting to gain some traction. We're starting to move some things, some immediate kind of low-hanging fruit things that we did. And if you're frustrated that we closed the permit center, I apologize. In exchange for that, we opened up our counter for more hours, so our counter's open from 8 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. You may question, well, why are you closing it at 3:30? That's inconvenient for us. I have to tell you that that last hour and a half, it gives the staff an opportunity to breathe It gives them an opportunity to gather all of the things that they've taken in that day and kind of recover, and then be ready to open the counter the next morning at 8 o'clock. And it's been effective. It's working for us. I realize it may be inconvenient, but I have to tell you that I believe and I just know that our processes are getting better.